I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I wanted to comment one more time about the shootings at the synagogue um, up in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. That's ongoing now. It's happened, but they don't have the name of the shooter. But there's at least 12 uh, that's been shot, and at least 4 that are deceased. Um, don't have the name of the shooter, and it may not be in any patterns. What I'm going by here is this ongoing that have been done in patterns, and this isn't a copycat. It's mind control. So I don't want to get into it with President um, Trump because I like him, but he came in and I guess well, what do they expect him to say? If the press hasn't told it all these years about mind control, believe me, they know it. My husband and I went to Turner Broadcasting way back in Atlanta, which became CNN, who are huge now. I went to them, he went to them, we went to all the media. And then in doing the book I did about mind control and programming people to kill, or you can use mind control to cure an illness or create illnesses. That's the key word in all this too. So all this time since Tesla files, and perhaps before, you had cures for curing any sickness. Um, so anyway, all these donations and charity drives and all that for more research is just for to buy more. They've already had the cure. It's to buy more fancy equipment. I used to work for Urban Medical when it first started on Windy Hill Road, and I was in bookkeeping there though. And I went to work about 2 weeks before it opened. So I got the gist of what goes into inventory, the payables and all this, and payroll I did, but the equipment, and now then it's so advanced a lot more. So a lot of what I'm saying is you didn't need the drives. If they'd only have told the truth a long time ago, but it's been used as a weapon of war to murder, program people now in masses. Back when I was telling about started writing about it when Larry Flint was shot, and just prior to then, he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and March the 6th of 1978. And I was living at Moonraker Apartments, then moved up to Laurelwood up the street where so much happened. But I got a letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. Well, actually, I got 2. I got one from another agent. And, well, I've put all this up so many times, so I'm not going to be redundant. It's too much to put up and have any space left. I was almost killed. They almost killed me April Fool Day of 80, and I was across the state line illegally. They took me, and they're going to tell something else up here. They're talking about President Trump got off and the plane just now made comments. This is a Jewish synagogue where the shootings happened and these have been killed. And he's talking about they need stricter or to enforce stricter death penalty and etc. And enforcement of the law. Well, that's not going to help it. You have to make the press, since they're supposed to be telling this, not me. They get paid for it. But this would lead back to my kidnapping, the takedown of my father, Edward VIII, married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, my mom from Madison, Wisconsin. God bless her and him both, the pain and suffering they went through, knowing that he was honest and did nothing other than do his job, and he paid a price for it. The Illuminati took him down, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers out of New York City, Bilderbergers, the Kennedys. Let's see, to this person that was that got on here and loves for someone to respond to her as she insults you. But hey, last time I heard, the Kennedys were from Massachusetts, darling. So anyway, there you go. What's involved here is mind control, and it's mass. If you had done something back then in, 1976 and prior, maybe this would have been stopped. But you would have had to tell about me, because these are done in patterns. And as I say, I'm speaking on this one. The suspect identified as 46-year-old Robert Bowers. Well, that name doesn't necessarily stick out to me. Who's Bowers? I don't know. That doesn't necessarily. It's almost like, you remember that song, Harper Valley PTA? I hope she doesn't mind me using that as the song, what it says in there. It's almost like I've been made this by these people who have no reason to hate me other than I'm telling the truth, and paid a price for it, and for being kidnapped, who I am. My father's Edward VIII. I was born in 39, kidnapped in 41, brought to this country by Roosevelt. He's a president, FDR was. He appointed Joe Kennedy ambassador to England, and 36, the year my father became king, married to my mom, Queen Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. They've destroyed records, and here I am telling everybody this. And some people are good, and then there's a nasty people. Make you wonder why. I thought my thing in this was the people, just as in here. If this man, Robert Bowers, who's Bowers? I know what the Robert, but anybody can be named Robert. Hey, Robert, Robert, I'm going to say Dylan. A nice person, by the way, and he was in law enforcement. Bowers. I can't write at the moment, but this was withheld. I knew it before then. There's something to do with the packaging that was mailed yesterday. Well, not just yesterday. They arrested the man yesterday for sending the bombs in the mail. And I was equating it back to the Unabomber back in 1996. I think they finally arrested him. I said then he was programmed, because that one was done in patterns. But this gets to be an ongoing thing, and the press that's getting paid to tell you the news has covered it up, because it would lead back to me. And the odd thing is, in my kidnapping, and what was done to the United States' best friend, England, the UK, the Brits. You take down their monarch. You have an American that's the queen. Then she gives birth to the monarch. They're married. Church helps in it. Yeah, so some of England did, Winston Churchill, helping what happened to us. Because my father wouldn't take orders from the Illuminati. Now then, I know you've heard this before, and then somebody will come in and say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Go back and tell me again. Well, see, this is how I laugh. I try to get through things like the pictures I got up there. I know I'm old. I don't need anybody to tell me. And thank you for the lady that said what she did in response to the comments about my age. That was nice of her. But anyway, so there's some nice ones. But let me get back to this. The press is controlled by your Illuminati that kidnapped me, your global government, out of New York City. And that came to be because of the treaties that were signed after my father was illegally taken down by the Illuminati, your Freemasons, the Kennedys. They're Americans. Hey, you American? That's who they are. I'm sure you didn't know that, so excuse me, you're too busy. Well, anyway, here we go. I didn't say there was anything funny about it. It's not funny what's happened to me and my sons in any part of it. Now then, the thing in this is, I can bet you it's one of the mind control shootings. Now they're calling for stiffer death penalties and laws. Well, how about applying that to your press? If they had told this, your Illuminati controlled press, way back, none of this would have happened. And to go and say that you're going to put another shooter who's been programmed, or shooters, to death, put them on death row like Timothy McVeigh, the U.S. Army put a chip up his buttocks. and he did the Oklahoma Murray Federal Building, taking it down. He was put to death. You should be outraged at what's been done to me. You should be outraged what's been done to my children and to Timothy McVeigh. He was an American. Last time I heard, he fought in your army. This is what he got for it. How many more are like that? So, if I sound rambling, I'm sure you great minds, especially this one, okay? And I'm not including the good people in this. And if I laugh trying to get through this, please excuse me, because this is like that song, Harper Valley PTA. And it just is infuriating to watch these people get up here and lie. 6 injured at the synagogue shooting. Well, I thought there was 4. Well, that's what they said before. I'm going to leave it. I don't know. Maybe they don't even know either, you think? So here, now then, President Trump, who I like, but he came in on a plane and he said a few things there at the Jewish synagogue. Tree of Life, I believe is the name of it. And there's something, I believe, I may be wrong, I'm saying this year, Tree of Life. Isn't that a book that somebody, I may be wrong, I shouldn't put it up, I try to make sure, but didn't somebody write a book on Tree of Life, and that book was connected to the black man? I hope they don't fire me. I'm not even getting paid for saying that. I'm thinking about NBC firing Megyn Kelly. I can't believe this. I wasn't the greatest fan of Megyn Kelly, but since I'm up here on the video, I'm going to say she had a darn good program, and you'd be hard put to replace her. I'm serious. I was not a fan of hers, or neither did I dislike her, but I got to say she had a good program. And to censor someone like that, and yet if you followed what I've been called, name calling, respect, what's respect? My life's been a living hell, treated like the worst criminal going. Now then, I hope I've got this cross and this is still not going. I'm still going up, not a blank tape. When you say you're going to have more death penalties, well, what's that going to mean? You're going to kill some more innocent people? Because that's who they are that have been programmed. I don't care if it's with a knife, it's mass army, it's blowing up a federal building like Timothy McVeigh. My God, how much more can you have it beat in your head? MK Ultra was put before Congress, and hand slapped and turned loose again in 53, I believe I'm correct. So are they really the villains in this? And to add another security guard to this church or to your schools or to your airplanes, they can be programming, come out shooting or come out with a knife or any means, whatever they're programmed to do, and they don't even know it and couldn't stop themselves if they do. You have to identify and stop the use of the weapon, and that's mind control. And it's got to be put up on the Illuminati control press here that did the kidnapping of me and responsible for the global government coming to be. And that's end time. See, I didn't know that until I did the book and researched and all this. That I'm just going to leave it there. There was a couple more things. I want to get just one more thing here. Just one more thing. Somebody else says that. Mind control is really behavior modification. I guess that's a good word to say for it. It can be used for the good, not mind control, but behavior modification to learn children or some, better behavior. All right, plain and simple. You also, like mind control, they don't have a choice. It modifies their behavior to commit criminal acts or whatever the motive is for the programmer. And they keep saying, like, they don't know the press, they don't know the motive. Well, I've told them, you go to the one that's programming them to commit these acts of crime and terrorism. The terrorism belongs with the press. Any person, fool, would know that if you have not told this about what was done to my father and mother, the takedown of going into the UK and trying to overthrow us and kidnapping me, the monarch. You haven't told about that all these years, and then I find out about this, and Mind Control start writing about it, and Larry Flint's been shot. One of them that was shot in mind control use. I'm flown out there in the campaign in '83, and he even has an endorsement that I know who was responsible for his shooting. It was a nice editorial. And well, where am I going from here? I don't know. I'm watching that, and I really had promised myself I was going to step back from it. But I wish that it would be told. And that's all I'm going to say at the moment. Stiffer death penalties apply. These are not killers, they're programmed. For God's sake, if you're going to take on somebody, take on the person doing the program. Quite frankly, the general public is the ones that are going on living. They think they can't be programmed, that if they just keep quiet and go on living their comfortable lives, that nothing's going to get them. Well, that ain't the way it's happening. And whether or not this is a mind control shooter, Robert Bowers, that alone I wouldn't. It's the whole thing together. And the fact is right next to the mail bomber yesterday, and that one does have some connections. So I'm sure there was something else I was going to say here. Stiffer death penalties for a victim of mind control. You want to prosecute the gun, give it the death penalty, or the knife, or the 18-wheeler that mowed all these people down, or you want to keep going on that? I don't think you can give them the death penalty. That's an inanimate object, but that's exactly what you're using the program shooter or with knife or the 18-wheeler driver or etc., etc. So think about it and think that the next time it could be you or yours.